The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, looking good, Billy Ray, feeling good, Lewis. We're going to take a look here this morning at the oil market. I posted this chart for our friends across the pond. You'll notice this big ABCD that's completing and all the little swings in between. What's important about this, folks, is the high that it made today was an exact 78% level. So pay attention to that. That's a very important level at 53.36. We backed off about 50 points since that time. But to me, looking at patterns and ratios, that is a big one. So pay very, very close attention to that. I think it's in fact, it's extremely important. Another one coming across the pond is very, very interesting. Let's take a taste of this one. This is the British pound versus the U.S. dollar. As you can see, we have been in a downtrend. You can see very distinctly since January, this thing has gone from 137 all the way down to 134. We backed up here to 136. You can see that level right in there, and you can see the lower tops in there. That's how you define a trend. You have lower tops, lower bottoms, and so that's an indication that it should be in an area where it should be going down. And usually what you do when you're looking at that to try to control your risk is you go to a little bit smaller time frame, say a 15-minute, just to see what's going on. And as if you take a look at this, you'll see what's happened here is that we've had a situation where you had a perfect Gartley pattern in a downtrend, and that's why it yields you a very good risk-reward ratio as far as the amount of money that you have to risk. Whether it works or not, I don't know. Gartley's work about 65% of the time, and frankly, there's nobody that bats 650 in the majors in the baseball thing. So if you can do 65, you're going to be just fine. The key is, though, you've got to control your risk, folks. It's the amount of money that you don't lose that decides whether you're going to be successful at that. The other thing, I'd like to make a comment here. I don't know how many folks follow what Mr. Z does here in the room, but my goodness, the posts that he makes, folks, these are biblical, some of them. I mean, it's really incredible, the work that he does. I don't know if you appreciate him as much as I do, because when I see his posts, I immediately go to check to see, what he's looking at, and it's really we have a real jewel here, and I hope you folks appreciate that, because you don't see people like that contributing the way he does, and he is very generous with his time. And what he posts in there, I know sometimes it's a little bit scattered or a little bit difficult to read, but if you look at it really closely, he's going to give you some really good information. And not only that, but he comes right back when he's wrong and tells you that, hey, this one didn't work. Doesn't happen often, but he does tell you that when it pops up. By the way, speaking of doing good things, we have Mr. Call it to the minute Winsky today. He'll be on at the half-hour break, and we'll be able to see what he has to tell us. We have a new moon coming up in here. I believe it's today or very close. Let's move on to a couple others that we want to watch here. Let's take a look here at the DAX. You'll see here that we've made that big pattern up there. We backed off just a couple of days, much like we have in the stock market here. Really very little happening here. You can see the 3 drive to a top pattern there, the DAX on the hourly chart, very clearly went right up to point D. Gee, that's a big surprise, right? And now we rallied up to a 61% retracement today, and that tells us it should be heading down to around 13,750 if it, in fact, is going to complete that pattern. So we'll watch that. Okay, now we watched that one, and we want to get one other one up here, 2 others that we have to take a quick look at, and that is the FTSE on the it looks almost exactly like the DAX, a little different, but same three drive pattern. You'll be able to get this up here. You'll see that it's actually weaker, of course, than the German DAX, but that's what we're watching here. So that's what we're following here on the European front today. The main thing is keep a watch of that oil, folks, because if we get it above 53.50 in that March crude oil, folks, this thing could really get up to $59 without any trouble at all. So that's why it's so very important. This is a 786 retracement. Remember, we tried it at 5150 when it was at the 618. That didn't work. So the same thing is, you got to get back in the dance floor with your quarters and hope that the orchestra plays you a winning tune, because you don't know which ones are going to win and which ones are going to lose. So you got to pay your money and take your choice. All righty. Now let's move on to one other thing that is important today. And if you'll give me 1 second, I'll get it up here. This is very important, what's going on here. I'll cover Bitcoin in just a minute, folks. Just bear with me. We've got plenty of time before Norm comes on. Let me get this chart up on the this is from Martin Pring. I wanted to bring this up because it's really quite interesting. You'll notice here where he has these green arrows. This is where stocks start to increase against bonds. You see those green arrows? That's when the money coming into stocks, the inflows into stocks is much, much greater than it is into bonds. You can see here what's happening recently. We just made an all-time high. More money is coming into stocks by far than is going into the bond market. So you got to ask yourself, well, what's happening to the bond market? Well, boys and girls, as we've been saying since August, and that's been a long time ago, August last year, when we made that big high up there at 175, we have been in a strong downtrend. And since December, this has been accelerating. We've had lower tops all the way down through here. I posted that triangle that you can see in the dark lines there. That was a real, come to nature move, or what you want to call it, at 171.29. We are now trading at 167.19 this morning. Look at the dark black line at the bottom, folks. You see where it says 166.24? That's what is known as the line in the sand, because you get much below that, or you could really have a free fall in these bonds. And believe me, people are not following this. This is the second largest commodity we trade. T-notes is the first. Treasury bonds, I believe, is second. So there's a lot of people here that are in this market, both long and short. So, but the shorts are certainly in, big lead right now. But we're coming into major support there, folks, at 166. That's down about, I think it's about 13 handles. No, like about 11 handles from the high. So it's going to be interesting. But that number is very, very important, because that comes off of a 1.6 retracement from way back in November. And that's why it's going to be very interesting to watch. And we're not very far away. So we're probably getting to an area where it's going to be, interesting to see. Rates are going to go higher, folks. This thing about negative interest rates, I've been standing on the soapbox for so doggone long about that. I'm almost afraid to fall off. But that just doesn't make any sense. It never has. Maybe Bitcoin doesn't make any sense either. But all I know is I just follow the charts. And, that's about all I know. It's like that. I keep saying it's like the movie City Slickers, when Jack Palance raises his index finger and tells Billy Crystal, just one thing. And at the end of the movie, he asks him, what do you mean, just one thing? He says, just do one thing right, and the rest of it will fall into place. And that's what you try to do with pattern recognition. Just do one thing right, get baby steps in front of you, and you'll be able to do it. 877-927-6648. Stay tuned for a Bitcoin analysis.
If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, TAS understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the TAS Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the TAS Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today. Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
Hey there, I'm Andy Arbertine with Tiger Precious Metals and Stones. Whether you're looking to buy and sell precious metals or trying to find the perfect diamond ring, I'm here to help. I have over 15 years of experience with diamonds and precious metals. You can call me directly at 727-329-8245, and I will personally answer any questions you have and help you find exactly what you're looking for. I will be your personal concierge in the metal and stone business. Give me a call today, 727-329-8245.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Okay, folks, I'm going to take a look at the chart of Bitcoin. We've had this parabolic move here that started back in September. We went from 10,000 in Bitcoin all the way up to 42,000, and now we're swinging like a proverbial playground swing, folks, because we've gone from 142 down to, 142, maybe someday, 42,000 down to 31,000. We dropped $10,000. I mean, that it sounds like a lot, but when you're trading with the big boys, that really isn't. Then you rallied up to 38,000 and back to 34. We're just chopping around here, folks. This is how markets move. You know, you got people that are in there willing to take profits, and also people that are willing to make exposure to the long side. I don't see any sign of a top in here, folks. I mean, this is a parabolic move, and I've learned a long time ago when markets go beyond these levels that I look at, stay the heck out. Because, you know, you could really get hurt. Now, the open interest now is over $1 billion in the CME. The value of it is more than $1 billion at the Merc. But this trading, I think 11,000 contracts are outstanding, so you can use options and all the other things that are involved. But I do not believe this is the high in Bitcoin. And frankly, folks, I don't understand enough about the cryptocurrency market. I know the difference between a token and a coin. That's pretty much it. A couple of other small little things, but it must be real for a couple of different reasons. One is, when it hit 19,000 in 2018, everybody said it was tulip bulb time, and it looked like it was. But tulip bulbs don't go from 19,000 down to 3,000 and then go to 42,000. The tulip bulbs don't do that. So that's why that was it. And we followed Bitcoin all the way down, folks. When it was making a high, if you go back and look at it, 2018, it was a beautiful 3 drive to a top pattern. And you just, right at the 20,000 level. And then we went down to the 382, which was at 3,100, which was that's on a log scale. And then, all the way up. Now, remember, Bitcoin, believe it or not, since 2010, we're talking 10 years, it has had 4 better than 80%, right at 78.6% retracement. Some of them are 83, some of them are 84%, some are right at 786. But it's had 4 of those. So if you take 78%, out of this, you could get a $28,000 drop in the crude oil, and it's still bullish. The only thing that would really take this market apart, in my opinion, is if we get below 14,000. If we got below that, that would be a sign that maybe there's something that is not right. That is right. Bitcoin is not a currency. It is a coin, and it is a blockchain is what it's really all about. It's a digital asset. Okay, now let's move on to one other one that's rocking and rolling for our folks here in the den that they've been following for quite some time, and that is the one that I specialize in because I have so much of it myself, and that is the natural gas. Let's just get up here so you can take a look at it. We'll get up here. Hold on. You'll be able to see it. Here we are. I noticed this morning, we had the pullback yesterday. We were right at a 382 retracement down there at 256, and boom, today we're heading up to 290, and it looks like we're on our way to 310 without too much trouble. With this big thrust up, it's really tough. Now, folks, what's interesting is if you look here the other day, we gapped down, I believe it was over the weekend, into the 28th of December. We had that huge gap down, and this is where we talked about whether you use stop limit orders or limit orders, and if you use a stop limit order, you wouldn't have gotten filled until the market went way back above that, but you had to take the risk of it going down to a whole lot lower than it did. That's why I said I don't ever use stop limit orders. It's better to be out of a market wishing you were in than in a market wishing you were out. Just tell that to people that shorted Bitcoin at 18,000 or Tesla at 600 or 400 or 500 or 700, who knows. Anyway, this is what we're watching right now in the natural gas. As we got a little above $3 is what it's looking at as a move here. But with the gap up, here again, anything could literally happen. Now the gold market. Now we're going to have Norm at the break here, but the gold market is getting very, very close, folks. Very, very important support. You're looking here at 1836. So pay close attention to that one in this, because there is a chance we got to 1838. So watch 1836, because that could be a really, really interesting spot to pay attention to. I think it could be on the realm of finding the proverbial gold mine, but I'm not sure. But at 1836, you don't have to risk very much at all. So at 1836, all you have to risk is about $7 per ounce. And when you're looking at a contract that's trading for 184,000, $7 is very, very small as a percent risk based on the contract size. Now, if your account can't handle that, go to the micro futures or use the GLD. The GLD is the ETF for the gold, and it's very good, has tremendous amount of volatility, and has great liquidity too. So all those things could help you taking a look at it. Long term, I'm still bullish to gold. I would like to see a move, below 1800 one more time. We've been to 1810. Now we come back to 1838, so we made a little bit higher bottom than we were before. That higher bottom would come in at around 1838 to 1836. So keep a close eye on that number. Also, we are watching that crude oil that we mentioned earlier. That number is we're already down about 70 points from the 786 level at 53.23. I think we got a chance to see if that's going to be a interesting spot or not. Now we've just had a nice $7 run in gold here in the last 5 minutes. That could be the fact that maybe we missed the 1836 and it only got to 1838, but that's too early to know because you're only talking about a 5-minute chart and it's only had 6 bars in it, so you can't make that distinction. You have to give it time. These moves that we have in gold are getting very, very helter-skelter. They're actually following the pattern really nicely, but it'll move $11, $12 and still go right back and make new lows. So those are things you got to think about when you're trading these things. You got to find a spot that in the line in the sand to say, look, this is where I'm going to take my cash to the bank, and this is what I'm going to be looking at. So 1836 in that gold today is something that is very important. That's the February gold contract. The next contract we roll over to will be the April contract. And so that'll be one that will be out next week, I believe, is when they first start going to the April. All right. Now, we have Norm Winsky coming up at the break. Make sure you have your questions ready, 877-927-6648. And that's pretty much what we're looking at regarding the market, the S&P. We were looking for the top to come in at 38.23. It got to 38.2450. We're now trading at 37.93. If you're in that trade, you want to have your stop at break even. I know you'd say, how could I give back 2,400? Well, folks, this is the way the game is played. If you think it's going to go lower, you got to set with rallies because you don't know where they're going to turn. And that's what the whole key to this thing is about. So stay tuned for Norman. He calls it to the minute, Winsky.
Larry Pesavento watches the markets 24/7, and now is a great time to try out his daily trading service, Fibonacci 24/7. Larry publishes videos and charts for subscribers throughout the week when warranted, and every weekend he puts out a thorough report covering worldwide markets, futures, commodities, and currencies with Fibonacci retracement levels, possible trading setups and zones, and stops and targets for all recommendations included. Larry applies the principles he's developed over decades of trading while analyzing a variety of markets for subscribers. To see for yourself the types of videos, charts, and analysis that Larry provides for his subscribers, sign up for Fibonacci 24/7 today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under the newsletter tab. You'll also gain instant access to Larry's archived subscriber webinar from earlier this year. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Sign up today. If you're a trader in the market looking to find the path that leads to maximizing profits while decreasing risk, then now is a great time to try out Dave White's daily trading service, The Path of Least Resistance. Through the use of options and equity trades, Dave advises his subscribers on a daily basis of the current market conditions and what possible trade setups are on the horizon. The Path of Least Resistance is published every trading morning, often with updates intraday when initiating trades or closing out positions. Dave White has advised his clients of some outstanding winning options and equity trades in recent months, and now is a great time to try it out for yourself. New subscribers to the Path of Least Resistance receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the types of options and equity trades that are available by signing up for the Path of Least Resistance today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com and selecting the newsletter tab. Sign up today. TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, Butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, folks, and I believe we have Norm Winsky out of Naples, Florida on the line. Norm, are you there?
Yes, sir, Larry. Good morning. Thanks for having me on your show.
You're welcome. Norm, can I twist your arm a little bit and get you to start?
Okay.
Go ahead, my friend.
You know,
you got
I'm
the mic.
very shy. I'm trying to overcome my
I
shyness.
know you are. We love you anyway, so it's not a problem.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Anyway, I was last on your show on the 28th of December because we had the full moon coming up on the night of the 29th. And so here we just had a few events, to Astro events to look at there at the end of December. So I'm going to go see what happened there, for good or bad, whatever it is. And so we had a thing, Jupiter, making a 150 degree angle to the U.S. Venus. That's on the U.S. natal chart. And anytime we have big important aspects to the U.S. natal chart, we take a look at the U.S. financials, the U.S. stocks, T-bonds, and U.S. dollar. And then the night of 29th, AC is after the close. So the 29th, after the close, that night we had a full moon in the sign of Cancer. And we were, for any moon, full moon, new moon, always round up the usual suspects, which in my opinion are financials, grains, precious metals. And because it was in the sign Cancer, we'll hopefully give a special emphasis to silver, but no guarantee that that's going to work, right? And then the weekend, over the New Year's weekend, we had Jupiter making a 45 degree angle to Neptune, which Jupiter was in Aquarius, so that's copper, and Neptune is oil. And of course, the stocks are the big basket of everything, so we look for them to respond to everything that we look at. So here you go. Here's your full moon. There's the corn, and the corn did not work. It just kept going up, up, up. And the grains usually work, but for some reason they didn't work that very well that time. On the other hand, the copper did work well on our Jupiter 45 to Neptune with Jupiter in Aquarius, and that's a pretty nice low you got there on over the New Year's Eve weekend. And there you go. If it's going sideways, we don't do anything. It's Newton's law. For every action, there's an opposite equal reaction. And if it's going sideways, the opposite of sideways is just more sideways that can't figure out what to do if it's going sideways. So there we go. We took a pass on the gold. That's what the yellow bar is. There's another one going sideways. You didn't know that it was going to do any of that. So going sideways, here's the OJ, though. It was rallying strongly into our window there for the full moon, and it made a nice stop there. Here's your silver. It's going sideways, and so we do nothing. I guess maybe because of the end of the year, holiday time, the markets were somewhat non-responsive, not doing much except for those crazy grains, and there's the bean just kept going up, up, up. And here's your S&P. It was going sideways until the 31st. Then it had a little bit of a pop to the upside. And if you went short there on our New Year's weekend rally, weekend aspect, Astro event, Jupiter Neptune, you would have done quite well. You might remember that first day of 2021, Larry, when we were down about over 100 handles in about an hour or two,
Yeah, those are the old days. They'll probably come again someday. Go ahead, Norm.
Those are the days, my friend, that we thought they never would end, I think that's a song. All right, T-bonds. We had the two Astro events for the bonds. Bonds were going sideways over that window. Here's your wheat. We came close on the wheat. We were 1 day late. There's a low over there on the 28th, 29th. If we had 1 day earlier, that would have been a winner. And so I got to count that as a miss. There's the dollar. We were about a couple. I can't even say that you were early there or anything. That just didn't work. Usually the currencies work well on the moon, but not this time. On the other hand, you were just talking about the British pound. British pound had a little bit of a pullback low right there on the moon, and so that worked out pretty well. So maybe I got it. Maybe I'm a day early. Maybe it's there, 30th. All right. Well, even if it's over there, it's still okay. Yeah, it's like a double bottom there, All right. Here's your euro, and that was a high day there for a short-term top. And here's your yen. That was also. I'm going to bend the rules slightly because we had kind of like the on the pound. You had a little double bottom over here, and you were 1 day past that, and so I'm going to count that as a winner. We only had 10 potential signals. 6 out of 10 didn't do kind of that rough sledding here at the end of the year, so we only hit 6 out of 10 for 6%. So maybe you'll still have me back anyway, Larry.
We're taking a vote on that as we speak. So far, you're okay. All
right. So, and also on the 11th and the 28th, I was on your show twice last month, up the limit, right? And I showed this blue line, which I did back in November, forecasting the S&P 500. And as we went along through the month, I would overlay the 10-minute bars for the S&P. And I thought you might want to see how it came out at the end of the month. We were only up to about there when I was last on, so you can see it. We rallied into the end of the year there, so that worked out pretty nicely. I think we have a pretty nice correlation there between the black bars, the actual prices, and my blue line forecast, which I did back in November. That's kind of a Bradley kind of thing, but my own version,
Okay.
I'll be talking about, let's see, okay, you want to get out your, screenshot program, or whatever, graphic program, because I got a whole lot of stuff. Unbelievable. This whole month is unbelievable. Huge, huge, huge stuff. And this week is no exception. We got top stuff. Just look at that list. That's just over the next four or 5 days. Look at that. Unbelievable. So last night we had Helio from the point of view of the sun. Saturn lined up with Uranus. So we were looking for a change in trend in these markets. I didn't review those yet because it's still too soon. 1 day later, you could have we could be 1 day late. And then here's what we got coming up. As you mentioned, Larry, we got the new moon tonight, 12th AC. That's after the close. And we round up the usual suspects. You got your financials, grains, precious metals. And because it's in Capricorn, we'll be looking at coffee. And then you got Jupiter making a 150 to the U.S. Jupiter. And that's U.S. stocks, T-bonds, U.S. and U.S. dollar. And then you got the moon's north node. I'm making a 135 to Saturn. And there you go, coffee, copper, silver, and stocks. And that's the afternoon of the 13th. And the night of the 13th, here, this is really big, Larry. As Ed Sullivan say, really big shoe here, Uranus in Taurus goes direct, So we retrograde direct. The planets do the rolling motion of the Earth, look like at times that they've stopped their motion and reverse direction. And when the planets change trend, the markets often change trend. So here's Uranus in the sign of Taurus, the bull, turning direct. That's the opposite of retrograde. Uranus has been going backwards, retrograde. Now it's going to stop to go forward. And so we'll be looking at cattle, and because it's Uranus, copper, cotton, and stocks. And I guess we'll start back on that when we come back.
That's correct. We're going to pay a few bills. We'll be back with Norm Winsky of AstroTrends, 877-927-6648.
Hi folks, this is Tom O'Brien. The printing presses are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The U.S. deficit has risen 200% in 1 year with no end in sight. The markets are looking for an additional stimulus bill to get us through this once-in-a-generation pandemic. There is no free lunch, folks. The more stimulus dollars put into the marketplace, the less your dollar is worth each and every day. This is the time to protect yourself with a portion of your portfolio in the metal market. The gold report comes out each Monday morning. I bisect and dissect the dollar, silver, gold, the XAU, and the HUI. The gold report is a long-term hedge against the dilution of your buying power. The U.S. has put more than $6 trillion into the marketplace in the last 6 months, with more expected in the next few months. The market did and does need the stimulus, but it will have long-term implications on our buying power. The gold report comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to TFNN.com and order the gold report now. Protect your buying power. Order the gold report now.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Hey there, I'm Andy Arbertine with Tiger Precious Metals and Stones. Whether you're looking to buy and sell precious metals or trying to find the perfect diamond ring, I'm here to help. I have over 15 years of experience with diamonds and precious metals. You can call me directly at 727-329-8245, and I will personally answer any questions you have and help you find exactly what you're looking for. I will be your personal concierge in the metal and stone business. Give me a call today, 727-329-8245.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The Bull Bear Trading Hour with Tom and Tommy O'Brien. Next.
Hey, we're back, folks. We're chatting with Norm Winsky of Astro Trends. Norm, would you continue, please?
Yes, sir. We're down to F in my very long list of astro events this week. And let's see, we have the moon is north node. That's as the moon goes around the earth. It's an point of intersection that moves back, very important cycle, moves backwards through the zodiac in an 18.6 year cycle. Very, very important cycle. That's making a 120-degree angle to the U.S. moon. What is a natal chart? That's for the U.S. natal chart. We take a snapshot when something began or something was born, and that's sort of the blueprint for that item forever. You know, right? So, you know, when somebody was born or a country was founded, this is obviously July the 4th, 1776, where the moon was at that particular time. Some of our founding fathers, you know, were astrologers, such as Benjamin Franklin, who advised Thomas Jefferson on when to start our country, you know. Yeah. So and because the moon seems to be, over my many years of observation, seems to be especially important point for the dollar. And I don't know what you think, Larry, I think we're down here where the dollar is kind of hinting at making a possible low here in this neighborhood. So I think you want to keep your eye on this. So we got a major change in trend for stocks, T-bonds, and the U.S. dollar. Also, we have the moon back here just a day or two before. So if the dollar goes back down and retests the lows and holds, that we could be forming a low here, you know. So on the morning of the 14th, that would be Thursday morning, we have the moon's north node. We're going to line up with the U.S. part of fortune, a something point in the U.S. natal chart. So we have a lot of stuff there with the U.S. chart for your U.S. stocks, T-bonds, and dollar. And then also that morning, we have Jupiter making 135 to the U.S., Mars, another U.S. natal point. And then over the weekend, really big stuff. We got Venus, and one of my other top things is Venus when the planets hit 0 latitude. And there you have Venus at 0 south latitude, and that's cattle, copper, cotton, stock, sugar, wheat. And then also, here's right out of Bradley's book. This is Jupiter 90 degrees to Uranus. You might remember the story, Larry, how when I was in college, went to Honey Creek Square and went to the Crux and Britanos there and stumbled on the Donald Bradley's book, which they had a lone copy all in an empty bookshelf there. Marked down to 10 cents, and I took that, and I'd been studying the stock market since I was a teen and studying astrology for about a year, and looked at that, and he showed how the stock market went up and down with the 41-month business cycle and correlated that with Jupiter and Uranus, different Jupiter and Uranus angles. And I looked at that 41-month business cycle and said, I think that might have something to do with copper, because copper was famous for going up and down with the 41 business cycle. And as you might remember, Larry, I grew up in the scrap business, and my dad was talking about copper prices all the time. So I was kind of tuned to that sort of thing. Went back and researched that for about 30, 40 years back, and found out that worked pretty well, and ended up buying a copper mining company in 1972 when I was 21, and I did quite well. The copper went from 55 cents to an all-time new high at $1.41 on the London Metal Exchange within about 18 months, and I did well, and that led to my buying the membership on the Chicago Board Options Exchange as I exited school. Cattle, copper, cotton, oats, and stocks for Jupiter and Uranus. And then finally, over the weekend, we have Jupiter making another big aspect to the U.S. natal chart, U.S. stocks, T-bonds, and U.S. dollar. This is just a sample of January. This is like the last time I remember a month like this, but we had a couple of months like that back in early 2000, January, February, which of course was near the top of that pandemic top there, you know. So anyway, if you'd like to learn more, get a hold of me here. Here I am in Naples, Florida. Norm, here's my phone. You can call me, talk to me, 239-594-3939. And there's my email, and there's a Q there, not a G, embark with a Q, mail.com. And that's AnnLinsky _1 on Skype. And so if looking forward to helping some of your folks. Larry, anybody have any questions or comments from the Tiger's Den there, Tiger Den?
Yes, we do. We have a question from one of our listeners, and that is, how long does it take when you do your course, and what does it entail?
Well, I have an astrology course, and that takes about 6 months. And you're going to learn the basic principles of astrology and how they relate to the markets. And then I also have a swing trading letter where I cover about 30 markets, and I have about a 6-hour class that goes with that to teach you how to use the letter. And you're going to learn lots of stuff about different planets and signs and with the different markets. And then we also have day trading. That class only takes about an hour, but then I make you practice every day for about 3 weeks to make sure you got it down. And so you get free coaching, you know. So that's pretty much my big 3 things that I do. And you get to talk to me. No robots, no websites. It's me personally, and I give you personal attention.
Well, that's always helpful. One other question that one of our listeners is asking regarding the Bradley model, when you show the Bradley model, you show a different type of a sidereograph that is based on astrology, but not the Bradley. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I loved his concept when I bought that book for 10 cents. That book changed my life, you know, Larry. I didn't know what I was going to do when I got out of school, and that got me on the path to where we're at now. So anyway, I didn't pay that much attention to that. It looked complicated in the back of the book, but I loved his concept that you could assign numerical values to these astro events and then plot them on a graph. But he was very inconsistent on how he had that thing constructed, and crazy parameters like, you know, 15 degrees for an orb, if you know what that is, you know, where the different angles would be overlapping each other. That's crazy. You know, I try to be very precise. This time, you know, I look at the big stuff. I only allow about 1 or 2 degrees, you know, and he had things like you should do Venus and Mars declination, but not the other planets. Why not? See, so I took his concept and did it and did my own version of it, basically, you know. So you'll notice, let's go back to the graph real quick if we have time. Notice I got different astro events on here, some of which Bradley never even thought about. I got Neptune going direct there. I got Mercury at 0 south latitude there. And I allow for inversions. Bradley never talked about inversions. I actually have a model that I allow for, you know, actually anticipate that the model will invert at this point. Here's a solar eclipse. You see, so I put those. I track all those a lot of events that Bradley never did. I think I maybe more advanced than Bradley, but I appreciate Bradley getting me pointing me in the direction. You know.
Okay, that makes sense. 10 cents, though, that was certainly a fair price, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Norm, just getting back in history, do you remember going back about 35 years ago when the hot book was The Egg of Columbus?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody wanted to buy that book for, what, $25,000 or something?
I think a friend of yours out there in L.A. quoted me $25,000 for that book and told me that I'd have to show up there with a briefcase of cash. I could meet him at the airport with a briefcase full of cash if I wanted to book.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah,
you probably know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I sure do. He's since passed away, but that's the way it goes. Yeah. Hey, listen, my friend, thanks for joining us, and knock it up another. We'll see you on the full moon.
We'll shoot for that. We'll take a look at it.
We
got huge stuff this month, folks. Get a hold of me. This was just an appetizer. What's going on?
All right, we'll be back, folks. 877-927-6648.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as...
Whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
You see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us. And Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that'll take you step by step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
With markets trading with extreme volatility and peaks and troughs everywhere, regardless of what you're looking at in the markets, this is a great time to see the type of analysis Basil Chapman delivers for his subscribers every market day with the Opening Call newsletter. Basil has been analyzing markets, providing his take for subscribers to his trading services since 1984. Every morning, Basil publishes an update for his subscribers, along with weekend and evening updates when warranted. The Opening Call provides traders a daily market overview with regard to the direction of the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, along with specific recommendations, including stops and targets. You also gain instant access to Basil's subscriber webinar archive from earlier this year, a dark cloud cover, and essential market analysis. Ride the Chapman wave today by signing up for the Opening Call newsletter on the front page of TFNN.com under the newsletter tab. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Sign up today.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, folks, I posted a chart of the NASDAQ, a little 5-minute chart over the last several hours here. You notice that we were trading down there pre-market at 12,865. We rallied almost 100 handles up to 12,950. And while that was going straight up, folks, the S&P was not doing anything. It was barely upticking. That is market feedback, and that is telling you that that market is weak. And you can see what happened here right after the NASDAQ started down. The S&P became the follower, and it went from 93 to 83 very, very quickly. Now, that's just market feedback. What you're doing is you're just watching how these log traders, algorithmic traders work with their machines. And when you get one of them going up, that means they're interested only in the NASDAQ. They're not interested in the S&P. So you've got to trade each one of them separately. So if you watch that feedback, especially with the NASDAQ, because that's the pork bellies of the indices, because it'll move $2,000 like it doesn't even exist. Just like we've done today, we've been up 2,000, down 2,000 in just about 100 handles. That's $2,000. So that's $4,000 move, and that's only been since 9 o'clock, and here we are at 9:55. So you've got to be very careful in here and be sure to watch things like that, because it's very, very informative that you're able to see something like that. It's just really, really, really important. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the gold, folks, at 1836. There's a big number down there. Whether it's going to make it or not today, I'm not really sure, but we'll keep a very, very close eye on it. I will not be on the show tomorrow. I have to do some tests again, but I will be back on Thursday and Friday, and hopefully we're going to have Byron Tucker as our guest on Thursday, and we'll do our best to have him on. And on Friday, I'm going to have a mystery guest. I'm still trying to get in touch with him, and it'll be a big surprise, and he's incredibly famous and also a fun guy to talk to, and we'll try to have him on the show on Friday. We'll definitely try to do that. So live every day in an attitude of gratitude, and may God bless and help the poor, folks. They need help.